So hi, my name is Clare Fraser. I'm the Public Affairs Manager at City and Guilds. So today we're going to have a chat about the Chancellor's budget, which has been delivered today at lunchtime.
Hi, and I'm Bryony Kingsland. I'm the Funding and Policy Lead at City and Guilds. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that Claire and I chat about all the time. This is how interesting our lives get.
Yeah, Bryony, what are your initial thoughts? Obviously, we had some quite headline-grabbing stuff out there today about kind of the state of the public finances and some measures to help lead us out the recovery. But from a City and Guilds perspective, what were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts was there wasn't too much that was new, but there was some good stuff in there that was interesting to see. So from a funding point of view, for skills standpoint, they've increased the incentives for apprenticeships up to 3,000 from 1st of April to the 31st of September. So from what I could make out from the document that I've quickly skim read and from what the Chancellor said, currently, we've got an arrangement where employers can claim up to £2,000 for younger apprentices and 1,500 for apprentices over the age of 25, and that goes up until the end of March. That's been extended for those incentives. There doesn't seem to be any new money in the budget for that, so I'm assuming that that's actually the fact that I know a lot of the budget that was flagged last year for this probably hasn't been claimed because we've been in lockdown again, so that stopped a lot of apprenticeship starts. So there's probably a fair amount of that budget left. So what they've done is they expanded it out, and they're now saying that from the 1st of April, when the current incentive ends, there'll be a new incentive for any apprentices that have been recruited between the 1st of April and 31st of September. Employers can claim £3,000 per hire. Now, he also said during his speech that would be for any age. So that makes it sound to me as if they've actually increased the amount for over 25 apprentices as well as the 16 to 18 apprentices, and it's all going to be the same incentive amount of £3,000. But we don't have the detail of that yet, so it'll be interesting to see what the ESFA publish later on this week, because they'll have to amend the funding rules to accommodate that. So yeah, that's what's happened on the apprentices. There's also some extra money in there for traineeships for 16 to 18-year-olds, but we've got no news on that, so I don't know what they're going to do with it. What I do know is that the ESFA have expanded out the in-year growth for traineeships. What they've said is to any provider that delivers 16 to 18 traineeships, they can deliver more than 100% of their current funding allocation. So I'm wondering if that extra 100 million for traineeships at 16 to 18 plus the ESFA announcement of in-year growth for traineeships, that's tied together, and actually the extra money is for that because he didn't mention it during his speech. So that was about it for FE from the point of view of the sort of funding, and the extra money coming in. What about the policy?
Yeah, so yeah, still some, I think I'd agree with you there on some interesting points to follow up on and do some digging behind the scenes of all the documents that have come out. I think I was also interested to read about the Flexi Apprenticeships as well.
Yeah, 7 million for that.
So
that's yeah, it seems to be. I mean, we know we currently have ATAs, apprenticeship training agencies, that actually employ the apprentice and then field them out to various contracts. That happens a lot in construction. So we have a construction ATAs where they employ the apprentice and then they field them out to various contracts with construction companies until they've completed their apprenticeship. But this seems to be geared towards other sectors, and they don't mention ATAs. So I don't know whether they're looking at an ATA model or whether they're going to be exploring other models. But what they want to do is accommodate those apprentices that might work in the more creative industries like TV and film, where contracts can be quite short and doesn't enable them to actually take and complete apprenticeship. And they're going to want to work something around that way to enable them to move between employers and then complete their full apprenticeship, so they've got the full learning and hopefully can then apply for jobs off their own back. Or find a job in the sector because they're more experienced and more skilled. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. I think there's groups of employers being pulled together by some of the associations, Association of Colleges and ALP, who'll be doing the Association of Employment and Learning Providers, and they'll be doing some work on that with groups of employers and providers. So that one's going to be one to watch and could be a good thing for the creative sectors and those other sectors where we know that they have short-term contracts rather than full-time permanent jobs.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I think for me, there's still what I'll still be trying to keep an eye on and trying to find out, as you say, is what that means for those outcomes at the end. Because if it's not making improvements or helping apprentices to get a job at the end, is it doing the job that it's intended to do? And also are there things, how does it work with things like the levy when it comes to that as well? So today's statement and the documents were quiet on the apprenticeship levy as well. We know that many, that apprenticeship starts are still down as well. Yeah. So there's still some homework to be done behind the scenes there as well, I think.
Yeah, they've got a lot to work through. It'll be an interesting one to keep a track on and see what happens with it. But there are lots of pitfalls that you've just flagged and we've spotted already. So I can't think that they'll have anything in place. Well, certainly not for this year, and possibly not even for next year. Maybe for the beginning of 22-23. Who knows? It depends how quickly they can work through those complex connections between the job, having a job at the end, and all the ones that you just pointed out. Yeah. So what about policy? What about some of the policies that were in there? Because there were lots of other policies around job creation and job retention schemes.
Yeah, so I think probably what the biggest headline will be in some of the media today and tomorrow will be on the extension to the furlough scheme, and what has been quite controversial, and certainly lots of people have been and groups have been campaigning on it, is for the continuation of the £20 per week universal credit uplift, both of which have been extended in today's statement. Both welcome, but I guess there's a sense that it maintains a slight kind of artificialness to the figures, and whilst it helps people in the short term, I think what I was perhaps hoping to see that didn't see was something to go hand in hand with that to help people as the furlough support ends, what is there in place for them to help them get into the jobs market. Some of these people will be potentially have been on furlough for anywhere up to a year, so they're going to some may find it quite challenging getting back into the jobs market, and indeed they might need some help with some skills there to help refresh them. And I think that's where, if you think in regards to some of our policy work that we've been doing lately, some thinking around areas like our skills bridges and our employment and training hubs that we've been proposing, that's where we believe that far more could be done to bring in more of to give in more life to the lifelong learning kind of sector, bring more of an end-to-end offer that really helps people both in the job and help them to develop their skills whilst on the job as well. In some of today's documentation, some of that policy has been carried through today. It's not new, but it's reflective that was acknowledged in what was the 1 year comprehensive spending review. So obviously this year we know there'll be another budget in November, and there will have to be another spending review settlement later in the year, both of which I suspect the Chancellor is hoping that there'll be more positive news that they can update on. But yeah, I think coming back to your point on the skills bridges, they can really help provide some diagnostic tools, some help, for people who perhaps aren't aware of the skills that they've acquired in their working lives, to say, look, here's where some of the jobs of the future are, and because there are those challenges there. Other than the recovery from the pandemic, we know that the increasing pressures of automation and AI and the changes to the labour market as a result of Brexit are all part of that mix at the moment. So it's a very changeable market at the moment for anyone who's looking to get back into it, or indeed whose job that they might be in is under threat at the moment.
Okay, so Claire, if someone wanted to find out about skills bridges or our recent research, what's the best option?
Rather than me trying to explain to you or anyone else watching about our web links here, I think we're going to put a few links at the end of this so that they're easily accessible. So we've got some links to our research and more information on our skills bridges and what exactly they can do and offer. And so we'll put those at the end.
Brilliant. Thanks, Claire. It's great to talk to you and catch up about the budget. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, all right. Cheers, Bryony. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.